Hey, it's your girl Daisy Darling here at WebDM Daisy with WebDM, and we are going to be talking about Picaresque Roman tonight, which is a Japanese tabletop RPG, which is what we refer to RPGs in the Japanese independent game scene. Had the privilege to learn about this game and be part of this crowdfunding campaign. This stream is sponsored by Lionwing Publishing. You can check out this Kickstarter link, and you will have the opportunity to back this project. It's very reasonably priced. Um, how's everyone doing tonight? If you're in chat, sound off. Let us know what you are up to. I'm going to pop out of mod mode and uh, get back into the swing of things. So interesting cast tonight. We have Little Cup of Joe returning. The last time she was on stream was with the Quest RPG. Hi, Dev Presto. Hope you're doing well. We have the Noir Enigma. Noir played in our Fading Suns actual play. Hello, Klaus. And Noir is hilarious to play games with. One of my favorite people. I have a theory that Noir and I, if we hung out at a convention, we would burn the city down in a good way. Pruitt, WebDam Pruitt, will be joining us as well. And also our friend Lynn, Flying Sirius, who was in the Torg Eternity actual play. And we all come together to play a one-shot. Again, this is a special sponsored stream of Picaresque Roman. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can check out the game and the links below the video. If you're watching this on Twitch, I'm going to be cycling Kickstarter links through the chat. I'd like to take the opportunity to talk a bit about what this game is and how it's played. So, Picaresque Roman. Let's talk about what it is. And I'm going to read an intro, and when you watch the game, I'm going to read the intro again. I don't want you to be overly surprised when that happens. So, violence, money, betrayal. Picaresque Roman, a Requiem for Rogues, is a tabletop role-playing game of outlaws. It takes place in what we call the city, a lawless district within and also apart from Japan, and now the city is your home too. Some here are fools who can only dream of striking it rich. Others are as smart as they are cowardly, hiding where the law has no say. But whatever delusion draws us here, whatever sin we wallow in, that can only be indulged here, whatever it is that makes us that step across the threshold, we are the wicked, and the city is our sanctuary. So this is an interesting game where everyone in this setting is a rogue, essentially an outlaw, a pickery, a rogue among rogues that's attempting to ascend to power in the lawless district outside of essentially Japan in the 2010s. It leans deep into sort of Yakuza mangas and mafiosos, criminal underworld, things of that nature. And everyone is essentially playing not quite a villain, but definitely not a hero. The mechanics are player versus game master. It is played in a cycles. Each cycle, players go through initiative, and players can take one of 6 actions. The actions are things such as getting information, crushing each other, not necessarily physically, but just taking each other's influence and money and information. Likewise, they can acquire information from the key non-player character, the VIP, the very important person. And it's an interesting game. And I actually find that it's a fascinating game for convention play. I feel that in the convention scene, a game like this would do very, 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 very well. So let's take a look at how a character is made in the game. And to do that, I'm going to bring up Magic Screen. Magic Screen, Magic Screen, come to me. Show us the game on TV. It's a little messed up. Let's fix it. It's going to show up in just a second. Essentially, I'm bringing up Acrobat Reader. For those of you watching this on demand, I apologize that I'm not so graceful in the arts of Digital entertainment. 3, 2, 1. There we go. We succeed. So, if you're talking in chat, I'm going to actually minimize you for a second, just so that I can talk about how you make a character. So, player characters can be one of 5 different gigs. Gigs are things such as an info broker, a swindler, a heartbreaker, that's like a movie star, a gambler, or a made person, a mafioso, a yakuza. And so you select a gig, and you're going to combine it with a side gig. There's about 30 different side gigs. So you can be a yakuza scholar. You can be a gambler movie star. Um, and combining these together will give you access to abilities. And we're going to look at a sample character here. Let's jump in there, see how things are going. Again, we're going to talk about the game for about a half hour, and then we'll get into a sample gameplay, and we'll get into the actual play that we play with the players. So, we've got them here. We'll actually walk through the character creation process first before we look at it. So, let me zoom in. Should still be able to see this. So first you select a main gig and a side gig. Then you distribute stat points. You get 2 skills from your main gig. And then you decide on some character details. Who are they? What do they look like? What's the core concept behind the character? But it doesn't take very long. The mechanics of the game are very simple. It's typically 2d6 plus stat, but it's not a powered by the apocalypse game. I don't think it should necessarily be compared to that. It's actually very much a tabletop game, which is an entire genre of games that we find in the Japanese RPG scene, of which there are many great games. You probably know and have heard of a number of them. From Tenra Bancho Zero to Sword World to Ryutama, there's many good Japanese RPGs, Golden Sky Stories, the Maid RPG. There's lots. And this is one of them. So this game was a huge hit in Japan. The game's not designed to consist of character growth. It's really best run as one-shots. So you create your character, you play a session as them, and then either you can play them again, but there will be no statistical growth, or they come back as an NPC. The fun thing about this, though, is you can make many characters and have many different storylines, and it's kind of nice in that way because these are crummy characters. When I say they're crummy characters, they're out there, and you'll see in the actual play. You know, there's some villains among us. So, sample character. Here we go. Boop. This is an example of the Yakuza academic. I'm going to zoom out so you can see the full character. Essentially, if you're going to play this character, you set your violence to 4. Then you, we'll talk about the stats that you have because we're kind of getting away ahead of ourselves. Violence, insight, charm, luck, and capital. Capital is the financial stat. You use it to fudge dice. And narratively, when you're playing the game, you play the game and you can explain how you're using your finances. Violence is how hard you hit with that baseball bat, or how accurately you fire your weapon. Insight, solving things with your brain, figuring out information, essentially being able to make split-second decisions. Charm is how easily you can make people obsessed with you, or make persuasive arguments, or your overall allure to your character. A lot of these rogues are very devious and excellent at deceiving people. And I'm currently a little paranoid. Okay, I was just making sure that my audio levels are okay. It happens. Streaming's complicated. It'd be funny if I was streaming for 10 minutes with no audio. Likewise, you have luck, and rogues are born with it. Luck is one way that you determine initiative. Let's get back to our characters and sort of the way they play the game. So The Yakuza would be able to pick two abilities, and the abilities would be Ready to Rumble, Steadfast, Warrior, Cook the Books, Overwhelm, Greed, and Charisma. An ability like Overwhelm means once per cycle, and a cycle is essentially from the time the first player at the table starts playing and the time the game master finishes their turn. Uh, the Yakuza will be allowed to use violence instead of whatever other stat is required. So it might be charming people, and they could decide they're going to use the overwhelm, and they're just going to get in there and use their violence stat instead. Or maybe it requires a luck stat, but they decide that they're going to switch, and um, uh, they're going to use the baseball bat instead. For those of you joining us, I'm Daisy Darling. I'm the producer of WebDM's Twitch channel, and tonight you're going to have the opportunity to see me run Picaresque Romans for some friends of mine. All right. And so right now what we're doing is we're talking about the different gigs in the game. The info broker, I really like her outfit. The info broker has an ability where when they gain information, they might be able to use their ability to get themselves extra capital. Likewise, that's the information trade. Lynn, Flying Cirrus, who plays with us tonight, is she plays an info broker. And I want to say she plays like an info broker accountant. Interesting character. And this is a character where the criminal underworld character is violence oriented. The info broker is insight oriented, being able to make split second decisions. And it informs how you will play the game. The Swindler, I don't think we had a Swindler when we played. We might have. They have a 4 and 3 to set to charm and intellect, so they must have high charm and intellect. Interesting. And then we have the Heartbreaker, who's flipping off the camera. It's high charm. Little Cup of Joe plays our Heartbreaker movie star in ours. So that's what they have in the sample. So, example about how it's played. So the goal of the game, we'll put Adobe Acrobat away for a moment. The goal of the game is to be the player that finishes with the most influence. And you obtain influence by stealing it from other players, or by stealing it from the game master, because the game master has a game master character. And that determines the length of the game. What I like about this is if you're playing, say, within 2 hours, you can make sure that you finish the game within 2 hours because you can just start taking influence from the game master. Once the game master runs out of influence, it moves in a kind of an in-phase cycle. The translation describes it as game 2. There's game 1, which is acquiring influence. Then game 2 is figuring out who the traitor is among them. Didn't mention that mechanic yet. So every character has a task that they can do to help them gain influence, as opposed to simply stealing it from the game master. Likewise, there is a traitor player character who's trying to prevent the other characters from gaining influence. Their goal is to not finish with the most influence and to not finish with the least. And if they do that, they get an advantage. So you'll learn over the course of our session who the traitor is. Now, mechanically, players can use their turn to try to figure out who the traitor is. Players have various info cards. Their stats are on their info card. Likewise, whether or not they're a traitor, they can get other information, like they might get information about the VIP, that important game master character with all the influence, both how much influence is remaining, what are the target numbers players need to beat in order to acquire influence from them. And that's essentially the goal of the game: acquire influence. And you do it in a very fun way. Now, we describe the city as a lawless place and all the players are against each other. How could that be any fun? It's fun because you all consent to that style of play and you understand that none of this is malicious. In our game, we actually took a number of safety protocols and procedures where we walked through and we talked about content we wanted to exclude from the game in the form of lines, content that we wanted to be off camera in the form of veils, We kind of set up a framework of safety around our city when we played. And likewise, we decided to not set everything in Japan or just outside of Japan proper, with actual Yakuza and actual mafiosos, because we didn't have a great expertise in that. Um, we decided to fictionalize most of it and to treat it as more of a city of our own making. So if you love world building games, you could play your own world building game, create your own city, and then set Picaresque Roman inside of it. For those of you that haven't seen the link to the game, I'm going to drop it in chat again. This game is currently available on Kickstarter. It's very sensibly priced. They got funded in the first 5 hours. There's a variety of methods of the game. There's a variety of modalities that you could use to purchase the game, be it in the form of PDF. You could get a soft cover copy, a hardcover copy. There's a box set. There's different backer levels. You can back on a level to have yourself introduced as a PvP. Yeah, I think you would dig it. Heroic Logic. This is a good game. It has elements of games like Werewolf. You know, it's you're trying to figure out who is what and what's going on. And we noticed at the end it was very close. And there was actually, it's very interesting too that I noticed one player had the opportunity to win the game, but they make a decision in character to try to help someone else win the game. And I thought it was a brilliant method of role play. Now, full disclosure, in the session you're going to see, it's all of our very first time playing it. We all read the rules, and then we decided we would play it together. And another aspect of Japanese RPGs is you often find in the back of the book they have what's called a replay. And the replay is a transcription of a game session. This is very useful in learning rules, learning maybe how most people might run out a game. You notice in the replay, sometimes players get the rules wrong, and so does the game master. But the game designer calls it out. They say, you notice they didn't quite get it right, but they kept moving. They're playing the game, and when you play the game, you might not do everything exactly perfect. Yeah, this is an exciting one. And I'm excited for you all to see it. Very interesting game. Is there any questions that chat has for me about my play experience in Picaresque Roman? So I had the opportunity to run it, and I had the opportunity to teach it to new players. It's a 2d6 plus stat system, but it's not like 3 degrees of success like a Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's essentially beat the opponent, you know, so 2 people have 2 die rolls and you're trying to get higher, or you're trying to beat a target number. That's the style of game it is. There's no character death in the game, but there's more of a social death, right? So your rogues, you know, they don't physically die. They get humiliated and defeated in comical fashions often. So we're about 10 minutes from the game, but do let me know if you have any questions in chat. Again, it is available at... Hi, Arberlin. This is the link to the game on Kickstarter. It's a game by Lion Wing Publishing. They've translated a number of Japanese games into English, and this is their crowdfunding campaign to localize Picaresque Roman, a Requiem for Rogues, into English. And one might ask, how were we able to play it prior to localization? We had an unproduced initial translation in some quickly formatted documents that we put to good use, and it was very good. So yeah, I would say you need to play. Yeah, and really it's about creating a story. And at the end, I will say this, there's a neat mechanic at the end that's called the Notoriety Mechanic. Since nobody dies, you can see kind of your character's legacy in the city. You can also form truces as characters and break truces. Some of the tasks that you can be given to get extra influence, some of them are very what I'd say skill based, and some of them are very luck based. Skill based, these are things like play well with others. Every time you get the game master to complement your role play, you will get extra influence up to a total of 5. And they must complement when you're playing with other players. So it's an interesting mechanic. But another one might say you've got to steal 3 pieces of info. And if you do that, you'll get extra influence. And so it encourages the player to go out and try to steal information from people and play in a certain way. And you see that similar philosophy in systems that yeah, and this is mostly about having a good time in the city. It's and to be fair, a game like this, there are no winners at the end of the day. You're still a villainous rogue, and you're going to get your comeuppance most likely after the session. And it's really fun to watch people work together. And I think you'll see when you watch this actual play, the friendship that's formed. And you notice that the 2 players that kind of hit each other a little hard, those players have played a lot with each other in a competitive manner, and it's mostly for show, and it's mostly in character. It's not, there's no maliciousness between players, which is uh, good to see and refreshing. At the end of the day, this is about think of it, it's like Ocean's 11. Everyone's trying to take advantage of the mark, and everyone's trying to put together a way to do this. Except it's also kind of like Rat Race. There's a Mr. Bean among us. There's a Rowan Atkinson. So they're trying to win, but they're also trying to do it in character and have a good time, which is the entertaining portion of the game. So we are a little over 5 minutes away. Something I enjoy about the game as well is I'm going to show you, and if you want to get a sample document, if you click on the Kickstarter, I'm going to drop it again for those that need it. You might be new to the stream, or if you're watching on video, you might feel prompted to take a look and click on it. You can get a play sample document. There's a 9-page PDF that you can download that does a very good job describing the game and showing the kinds of gigs. You'll get to have more information and more insight by watching this actual play, which I hope you enjoy. I have a costume that I put on for it. So you'll notice a costume change between me. I think my camera falls down during the actual play like 3 or 4 times, but I may have cut out most of the times my camera falls down. Ocean's 11 by way of Rat Race. It's a good time. It's a really good time. And there's various scenarios. It's also very easy for a game master to create a scenario. One mechanic we hadn't talked about is the Joker mechanic. So there's this very important person, this VIP, this game master character. And then there is a mechanic that players can take possession of or trade around known as the Joker. And the Joker is a key story element which plays a critical factor. It might be a person, it might be a place, it might be a thing. Could be a printing press, could be a supply to illegal substances. It might be a relative of the VIP. And players can gain control of this. Likewise, they can place the control onto other people. It was interesting to watch that mechanic come out in play and to explore it. And again, it might tie back to tasks and what task do you have as a player. The city is also interesting too because I've talked a lot about what the players can do, but also the game master. The game master can either play an NPC character that can kind of like a counter rogue that is going out and attempting to beat up the other rogues. They can also, if they're not using that, and that's an optional rule, they do have essentially a city phase where something happens in the city and an event occurs. They can either choose, they can design their own, or they can roll on a random table. You'll see a number of events that happen, and those happen at the end of the cycle. Again, a cycle being from the time the first player goes to the time the last player goes, and then the game master gets their turn, either doing the NPC character or the city phase, or to be more precise. So we're about 4 minutes out. Any other questions for me in chat? Ask away. Very easy game to run on stream. Very easy game to edit in post production. I hope you like the animated intro that I made for this game. I made it specially for this game. Uh, a bespoke intro. I use the word bespoke because I have a friend that doesn't like the word bespoke. We were talking about it today. They're like, "Oh, that's just a strange word." Um, I made a bespoke intro, so not every stream gets it, but Picaresque Roman does. Um, Crowdfunding campaign is going on for the next 16 days. Again, it's created by Lionwing Publishing. They are our sponsor for this stream. Do check it out. I think we have about 15 more days remaining. I am going to make sure that we get a link. The game is very reasonably priced and an extremely fun game to play. I'm probably going to run it every convention. And I'd really like on a channel like this, it'd be great if we had a monthly Picaresque one-shot where I play with the other members of WebDM. Emma, Jim, Pruitt, and other people we invite to play with us on WebDM Plays. If I was to design a long-term actual play around this, I would do a shared city campaign. I would run with multiple groups. All adventures would take place in the same city, and we would rotate cast, and we would bring people that had been on before. We would introduce cast members as NPCs, and what I'd probably do is I'd have audience participation as far as making fictional elements such as the factions that you might find in the city, as well as the what we would describe as the locations, the other criminal aspects of it. What are the ups and downs of being in the city? So, gonna drop that link yet again. If you don't have time to watch the whole thing on Twitch, it will be posted to YouTube. And if you're only interested in the actual play, you can actually watch the recording of the game on the Kickstarter now. Don't come into chat and give spoilers. Shout out to Google Speech to Text for providing the captioning for this stream. We use a plugin to make sure that we try to be as accessible as possible. And so I'll be back in just a minute. But let's get on with the show. And again, do check out that campaign and support this campaign. Catch you on the flip side. Hello, and welcome to WebDM Plays. This is Daisy here. You were just chatting with me on the pre-show, and I put on my Requiem for Rogues Picaresque Roman costume. We're getting ready to rock and roll with this special one-shot. Shout out to Lionwing Publishing for sponsoring this one-shot. Do check the links as we drop them in chat throughout the game. It links directly to the crowdfund campaign. They generously asked if we would participate, and we are happy to oblige. They also have a lot of other great Japanese games that they've localized and brought to North American markets. Before we get too deep into today's game, why don't we go around and introduce the cast that's with us today. And our throw order will be Pruitt, Lynn, Noir, then Jess.
Well, thank you there, Daisy. I am Pruitt, one half of WebDM. You probably know us from everything. Anyway, I'm excited to be playing. It's been a while since played a stream game. it's good to be back. I can't wait to get into this roguish backstabbery.
You know, it's funny, not to throw some shade at him, but a couple weeks ago, Jim Davis was on here and was talking about how he has just the one thing he does. We go, you have half a thing. There's another host on WebDM. You do half a thing. So Prue, we appreciate you as one of the hosts of WebDM joining us and getting your time to shine, especially in our mini-sponsored one-shots and mini-series on these channels. Lynn, how are you?
Oh, good. I'm happy to play it with some wonderful people get to play again with. So, yeah, I'm Lynn, Flying Cirrus, pretty much everywhere. I'm a streamer, artist, and someone who has a lot of practice playing just real evil, scary people. So I can't wait.
I'm terrified. I played Blades in the Dark with you. I was frightened. And Noir.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Noir. You probably don't know me from a lot of things, but now you do. Hi. I also have played with Lynn in the Spy game where she played an assassin, so I am also terrified. I look forward to stabbing all of you in the back at some point, though. Probably should telegraph it. I'm gonna die first.
All right. And Jess.
Hello, I'm Jess. I am a voice actor by trade. I do a bunch of other stuff, but it's not important in this context.
No, and I think we last saw you on this channel during the Quest RPG one-shot, which would have been like 2 years ago by this point.
I think so, yeah, that sounds about right. I have played with most of the folks at this table in some capacity or another. I'm excited to see what this specific assembled group concocts in our crime lord city.
There ain't gonna be no sad samurai Sundays.
No.
It's gonna be a yucky Yakuza yesterday. That's all I had. I'm sorry. Don't fire me. Before we get into the game, I'd like to read an introduction to the game. And if you watched the pre-show, you would have heard this introduction one other time. If you didn't catch the pre-show, do watch it. We cover character creation and some other aspects of this game and the game system. So here is the introduction to the game, Picaresque Roman. Violence, money, betrayal. Picaresque Roman, Requiem for Rogues, is a tabletop role-playing game of outlaws. It takes place in what we call the city, a lawless district within and also apart from Japan. And now the city is your home too. Some here are fools who can only dream of striking it rich. Others are as smart as they are cowardly, hiding where the law has no say. But whatever delusion draws us here, whatever sin we wallow in, that can only be indulged here, whatever it is that makes us take that step across the threshold, we are the wicked, and the city is our sanctuary. Here, everyone is a rogue trying to suck the marrow out of the big fish in this pond. But you're one of the Picares, a rogue among rogues. You outwit all the rest, and you take what's yours, and then you laugh in their face. But even you have to watch out, because someone close to you may not be what they appear. So once again, welcome to the city. We've been waiting. Join us in our song, a requiem for us rogues. So, to cover the outline of the game, they're all rogues in a lawless place. When I say lawless, there are literally no laws within the city. It's how the rogues can get away with everything. As we mentioned in the introduction, it's both part of, but apart from Japan. Our version of the city for this one-shot takes place in an ambiguous, nondescript location, flavorful. And that's one of the fun parts of the game. They explain in the rules that you can reflavor both the character rule sets and the locations to suit the need of the campaign you want to play. Every session's designed to be as a one-shot. Some content warnings. This is a bad bunch of players, or at least the rogues. I mean, the players are all sweet, wonderful people I've known for years now. So there will be violence. There will be picking on each other. The game centers around a PvP mechanic, but it's PvP VGM. All the players are working together and against each other to take me out. For I am going to represent what's known as the VIP, a very important person in the city who has influence and power that they want to take for themselves. So let's talk about what kind of characters we have in the city joining us today. And as you introduce your character, you're going to come to the gate, which is the gate to the city. And one of the parts of play is each character explains to the gatekeeper why they're coming to the city. If you don't have a great idea yourself, there's tables you can roll on in the book. You can even lie to get into the gate, but it's really up to you, and it's going to explain how your character first came to the city and how they got in. So we're actually going to do reverse order. So let's do Jess, Noir, Lynn, then Pruitt, and introduce your character, and then we'll role play a scene of you talking to me as the gatekeeper.
Sure. So, Maria Nakamura is a beautiful woman, perhaps a little past her prime, but you'll never know it. Her makeup is perfect. Her figure is perfect. She's a movie star, in fact, or was. She's also was married to a well-known movie star by the name of Ken Nakamura. She herself is ambiguously from maybe Europe. We don't know. But she kept the name. She is well-dressed, expensively dressed, looks confident, walks confident, and has the reddest lips you will ever have seen on anyone who can do a red lip.
Well, I'm jealous of her, so all right.
Me too.
Let's make it. I shop at Target. Hashtag not sponsored.
I don't know where she shops. I don't think I'm wealthy enough.
So we don't get that newsletter. So
No.
she comes to the gate of the city. You've described how she sort of looks and the timbre about her. But there is a surly individual at the gate. He's got a toothpick in his mouth. He's actually dressed in a pair of coveralls. Big old patch that says the city. And he's essentially the gatekeeper today. And he looks at Maria. He goes, "Hey, why you want to come to the city?"
She pauses a long moment, whips off her dark sunglasses, tilts up her hat. "I'm looking for someone. They went inside a couple of years ago. Now, I don't suppose you could just maybe do away with the formalities and let me inside?"
"Yeah, we can do that. Good luck finding them." And then they let you into the city.
She winks, puts her shades back on, and sachets inside.
All right, now let's move over to Noir. Describe who you're playing, and we'll get you into the city.
I'm playing Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs is an amalgamation of every bouncer at every club you've ever been to, along with just a dash of the guy who's too loud at the bar ordering a drink. So needless to say, he's wearing an Affliction t-shirt and really gaudy glasses. You can smell the Axe body spray like 2 blocks away from him. Muscles. He's got a sleeve tattoo on his arm. Just wearing fresh kicks and just to really just paint a disgusting picture, he's definitely wearing True Religion jeans because he forgot what was cool in the year that he's in. So he's just kind of walking up, trying to be as wide as possible, and going up to the gate.
Just Mr. Biggs is approaching the gatekeeper, looking like a whole ass house. Just a gatekeeper sees him approaching, turns down and goes, "There's a lot going on there. Love his fashion." And like, of course they would. And Mr. Biggs comes, and they're just kind of almost chest to chest, like you're gonna dunk on him, and they know that you could. Yeah.
What's up, big man? What's up, big man?
Hey.
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 What brings you to the city?
Yeah.
We know. In you go. Now, all right. So 2 have entered the city, and we move on to our third. So, Lynn, why don't you describe the character you're playing today? And
Yeah, I am playing Miss Karasu. Short, small, looks like the most terrifying auditor you've ever seen. Small, smartly dressed, black pantsuit, black makeup, bright purple hair, and has the most expensive cell phone, which she continuously looks at and examines and just pays more attention to as she walks up to the gate.
Not saying I have a type, but no. The worst auditor, it's like, yes, allow me to fetch my receipts. All right. So, yeah, you approach the two muscle men with their coveralls and their toothpicks. And at this point, though, they're both wearing affliction t-shirts over the coveralls. They're like, yeah, I keep mine in the Jeep. We want to get some of that Mr. Big style. So you approach the muscle men. What brings you to the city?
Oh, well, that's just a question, yeah, but power, money, good at generating, and divvying out both. So, if you wouldn't mind, please.
No, but let's get you a start. And they flip a capital your way. You know, capital is the currency of the system. We talked a little bit about it on the pre-show, and it's ambiguous as to how much one is worth. It could be a couple thousand, could be a couple hundred, could be a single dollar. It's an abstract game turn. But yeah, they give you a capital. They go, the start of your fortune.
She'll take 2 business cards and hand them out. Like, if you ever need anything.
Don't know how to read, they say, as they eat the business cards and move out of the way, put you into the city. I know, they're awful. It's the city. It's lawless. Rice paper. And with that, Ms. Karasu is in the city, which brings us to the final player. So Pruitt, go ahead and let us know who you're playing today and introduce them, and then you'll come to the gates.
I am playing Zusun. He is a slight build. You can tell that Lynn and I have been playing games before, because I was going to describe my guy as almost looking like an accountant, a very well-dressed accountant. Like I said, slight build, but he walks with the gait of a predator, of complete self-assuredness and confidence. He never checks behind him. He's always looking straight forward. And he just kind of walks up to the gate and looks over these two rather large individuals, like almost sizing them up.
Yeah, they see you and they go, "You're expected. But what brings you to the city?"
What brings everyone to the city? Business.
They immediately step out of the way because they know you are in fact a connected individual. Best not to waste your time.
Give him a slight nod and walk on in.
And they look at each other and they say, "No one's going to believe us. We met Zeus-san ourselves." And that's the last you'll see of those bros, unless I happen to introduce them some other point in the game. They're the Joker mechanic. The Joker is those two guys from the gate. So that's everyone's introduction into the city. They came here. They're hoping to obtain power. It's a lawless place. But now it kind of fast forwards. We assume that they've been here for some time. They've been amassing power, reputation, and notoriety over the past, we'll say, 12 months. So now everyone is very acclimated to the city. They haven't quite achieved everything that they want to just yet. But we are going to reveal now our adventure hook, and the way we do that is also by determining initiative order. So what we're going to do is everyone's going to make a luck roll, and when you do that, go ahead and just call out the number that you got.
What a waste. Here you go, Daisy. Look at that.
Hey, boxcars. You rolled a 99. No,
really wish I would have saved that for my first violence roll or something. But yes, so that gives me a 14.
Ooh.
I rolled a 3.
I rolled a 6 total. What stat were we adding?
Luck.
Luck. Oh, in that case, 11.
Ooh.
Also
Makes
at 11.
note.
And what did you get, Ms. Karasu?
11.
All right, so you're tied. Re-roll between you two to see who gets higher.
Double sixes.
Ah. Ah,
Well, so our turn order for the game is going to be Zusun, Maria Nakamura, Ms. Karasu, and then Biggs, and then followed by the Game Master turn, which consists of 2 phases. We're only using one for this playtest because there is going to be a traitor among us, and we figure for our first playthrough, we might keep it a little simpler rather than introducing GM-controlled rogues. So let me read to you. So Zusun is the first person to get this information. There's a new casino in town, the Monte Carlo. They say it was built by some big shot company exec from the outside who got drunk on the glitz and glamour of the city when he visited here. Someone suggested to him he should build a casino, and so he did. And immediately, it got used for money laundering. The guy's got enough money that he doesn't need to care, so he's moved into the Monte Carlo to enjoy the city to its fullest. That the exec was such a sucker has been kept hidden by the wannabe rogue who tried to manipulate him in the first place. But even with the casino seemingly being run legit, it was only a matter of time before word got out of the exec being a whale of a mark. You Picares have only just gotten used to things here, but your talents have already led you to set eyes on this prize. You'll have to get a move on if you want to sink your teeth into the casino's influence before other rogues do. So, essentially, you all are going to steal all the influence of the casino owner and take over the Monte Carlo casino. It'll essentially be yours. It'll be an asset that belongs to you. However, what we're going to do is we're going to determine everyone's task. This is a secret hidden agenda that they have to earn extra influence at the end of the session, or at the end of the first part of the game. Whoever gets the most influence wins. That is the PvP component. So everyone roll a d6 for me.
Yeah. Okay, a 5.
6.
1.
I got a 2.
This is interesting.
I'm keeping this die forever.
I'm not used to you rolling high. What's
Me
this?
neither. I don't know what this is.
Okay.
It's all on the wheel, Jess. It all comes around.
Do you know how long I've had this curse?
It's a really big wheel.
So I've sent every player a secret task for their character. Among the players, one of them is a trader that's actually helping our casino owner. He has enlisted the help of a rogue. Our initiative order, essentially the game's played in cycles where we go through all the players' turns. They choose one of 6 actions. We'll learn a bit more of those as we get into the game. And then there's an event that happens in the city that impacts one or more players. That's the city kind of pushing back. The goal is to get the most influence, and you get it by fulfilling your tasks, guessing who the traitor is, hiding yourself if you are the traitor, or zapping it from the VIP and the casino. So our first action of the game, and I know it's a lot of pressure, is Zusun. So Zusun, what would you like to do, and how would you like to start with your first action as you impact the city? And then what we do is we choose actions, we get into it, and then we play out little scenes. And also players are free to role play as their characters when they're talking about the actions. In fact, they might even negotiate. For example, if Zusun says, feel like crushing Mr. Biggs today. Mr. Biggs, but we're pals. We're bros. Remember that time we shared California rolls at that gas station? 'Cause gas
Remember that
stations
time you tried to order at the bar, but the bartender wasn't paying you no attention? So I was like, hey, my guy. And then I got you that drink. That was me, man. I'm sorry.
It's all
I have a very particular person in my head with Mr. Biggs, and I hate them.
all right. So, Zusun,
I live
you're-
with
you're
one of
first.
these people. Try to escape, and here it is. No. I'm kidding.
All right.
Sorry. You
Top
want
of the
me to go?
cycle. Yeah.
All right. Zusun is going to go to this casino, and he's going to do a little hustling. I mean, he has the countenance and the guise of maybe an accountant. So maybe if I can borrow a line from one of my favorite shows, it's time to crunch the numbers a bit and put the squeeze on some people and try to make a little money. See if he can get some attention out of this.
Cooking the books. Yeah. So, all right. And something we'll mention for the audience, some information is secret. Only the players know it, like their tasks. Other information is public information, such as their stats or how much capital they end up having. So we're using a little spreadsheet to keep track of this. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to add a column essentially of capital. So you can put how much you have after this. So the target number for this check is just going to be an 8. So let's go for it.
Okay. And I believe I can use any stat for this one.
I believe so.
And so he's going to do the thing where he's at tables quietly whispering threats of violence and things like that. That like threats that aren't really threats, but they're totally threats. So that like say he's at the roulette or the like the poker or blackjack, whatever it is, and he's just threatening so that he can win, just to make some money.
I'll tell you this. If you really want to go for broke, we could raise that target difficulty up to 12, and then you'll get 5 capital instead of 4. Money is power. Or you can stick with the 8.
Like I said, I want to get as much as possible, but not be dumb about it. So I'm okay with trying to get what he can, because barring just absolute catastrophe, he's well confident in his skills.
The card dealer's Homer Simpson. No.
So that's I shouldn't have done that because I got a 12.
Well, yeah. So the dealer is noticing that you're really leaning into people, and you're bringing in a lot of money. In fact, your hustle is catching the eyes of a number of admirers. Who is the sharp-dressed, laser-focused made man who is winning over everyone? No money. Some folks have no money. And with that, we move to Maria Nakamura.
Boy, oh boy. So, I think Maria's whole goal here is to make some friends and get some information through those little friendships. She's walking around working the room, getting free drinks, hopefully, if she's lucky, and blowing on the dice for folks to give them some good movie star luck. Being gracious enough to sign an autograph if anyone wants one.
Oh my gosh, an autograph from Maria Nakamura. The street value for this is so much. Sorry, that's the sound of your fans.
Excellent.
I promise not to do that voice again.
It's fine. It's fine. Anything for my fans. Mechanically, I
So
guess
now,
that might be
yeah.
gather info.
So here's how it looks for. So it's a gather info. So here's a type of information you can get. You can look into the VIP, and they'll give you information about the VIP, either how much influence they have, the target numbers to steal influence from them, because you can go and try to steal influence from them, but different approaches have different levels of efficacy. Like if you go with violence, they might have a bunch of security and it's difficult to hurt them. Charm them, they might be more willing to part with it. Likewise, you can also find out the Joker's effect and who the Joker is. Other information you can get is you can look into an NPC or a player character, and then you can get information from the player character, such as you can find out their task. You can find out how much influence they've obtained secretly. You can try to find out whether or not they're the traitor. And essentially, you have information on that individual. Likewise, say someone can't go after Zusun and like break him to get information on him. But if you got information on him, someone might be able to go to you later and be like, I want the information on Zusun. And then...
Well, he looks like he's a bit of a high roller, and I like that because that smells like money. I think I'd like to charm a little information out of our well-dressed tough over there who's raking in the winnings.
So mechanically, the way this is going to work, for those of you joining us now, is the players will make opposed insight checks now, where the movie star is coming up to the high roller and asking him for a variety of information. Let me recenter myself in the overlay. I centered myself on the camera, but not the overlay. And so, essentially, you'll have the opportunity to get information. And now, let me talk a little bit about the procedure of play and explain that we're playing the game in cycles. A cycle is every player acting once on their turn, and then the game master going, and then a new cycle begins. So if you have an ability that can be done once per cycle, it happens during one sequence of everyone going. The game master goes, and then you can do it again in the following cycle.
Okay.
So now we have Insight, Maria, and Zusun. And feel free to play before the roll. You can role play off of each other, or you can as well as follow the fiction afterwards.
Well, I'm going to use Pretty Face so I can use my charm stat to roll this. Because I'm hot. As far as what that looks like, I think she will wander up and bring him a drink. She'll have taken note of whatever he might have been drinking and order another one and set it down very gently. How are the winnings going?
And he kind of actually does a double take, as he was very focused on what he was doing. But he looks from the drink to this starlet, and you see a look of recognition in his eyes. And looks back to the drink and picks it up and says, well, it appears that the winnings just keep on coming, don't they? I loved your last movie, by the way.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of work, that one, but anything for the art. Would you like a little extra luck?
Well, I'm normally not one for luck, but I won't say no.
She'll give a lean over and, blow on the dice, do whatever, a little something to get some extra attention.
Yeah, and roll your dice against each other, but Zusun, you win like 2 extra capital, or 1 extra capital. It's kind of just because everyone's distracted, and that's an actual gambler thing. You bring beautiful people next to you while you play, and people get distracted. Dealer's like, I just dealt you 7 cards.
And because I'm so well read and an academic, I can bump my insight by 1. So I'm going to do that since I know a few things about Miss Nakamura here.
The dirt sheets.
Let's see. So when we roll this, we roll the 2d6 and then add the game stat. Yes.
2d6 plus stat.
I got a 13.
I got a 10.
So you're unable to get information from him. So what does it describe now in the fiction? How does it look when you can't be wooed over?
What it looks like is every time that you ask or move to try to find something out about him, he redirects with a compliment or talking down some bad review. Just finds a way to always point it back towards you. So it's just ultimate like deflection, redirection.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I've after enough of that where it starts to feel like the conversation's repetitive, she'll politely wish him well, wish him good luck, and perhaps I'll see you again sometime. And she'll wander to another table.
And I know I'll see you. And he throws her a sly little wink.
And with that, we continue down the cycle and to another lucky lady, Ms. Karasu. Camera pans over. You could be anywhere in the city, but let us know what you're up to this turn.
She is in her office, which is a mostly dark kind of there's not a lot. It's mostly like a empty room except for a desk. She touches a button on the desk and the front facing wall just lights up with all screens. She sits down with a glass of wine. It's like, before I won't get my hands dirty with this, let's see what secrets and what things of worth this has. So what she wants to do is she wants to gather information on the VIP.
Ooh, what specifically? The effects of the Joker, the target numbers, or how much influence remains?
The Joker.
All right. And what strategy? Okay, so mechanically in the way this works is you have the opportunity to earn any of these informations, and you're going to have to succeed against a target number you don't quite know yet because you haven't learned it, but it's an insight check the same as with the player characters.
Excellent.
You might have an ability that changes what stats you use, but it is an insight check.
Okay, I do not have anything for that particular one, but let us see. 2d6 plus the stat number, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 15.
That is well above what you need. So I'm going to let you know the effects of the Joker and what the Joker is. And in fact, I'm gonna message it to you. Everyone will be able to know who the Joker is, but you yourself will know the effects. So I'm gonna message that to you privately. And within your office, you pull up a variety of the equivalent of fantasy Instagram pictures. There is a beautiful young lady in her early 20s. She is the daughter of the casino owner, and she's just dazzling and lights up the floor. You can see many photos of her inside the Monte Carlo. You can see that there are many people who are taken aback by her great beauty, and that is essentially what you know at this point. Oh, and I think there's actually a special mechanic to where if you get a certain amount above it, you can just straight up acquire.
I think it's 3 above it.
Yeah, and so you did. So I think you actually gain access to the Joker now.
Oh.
And she is under your influence. So I'm actually moving her from under the VIP column to under you. Excellent. So now it's the same as if you have her. It's one of those things where fictionally, how do you get a hold of her? Do you meet her someplace?
I think I meet her through a proxy, which is basically a an investor for like high end luxuries. And it's like, do you want to well, you be high rolling? We can make a splash in the high society that city's never seen for you. We can do things that money on itself, money, youth, beauty cannot buy on its own. Connections.
She is very interested. She's like, well, you know what they say. It's all who you know. She enlists you as a retainer. She wants to retain you. In fact, she wants you to become a close confidant.
Excellent.
She opens up and confides. So now this daughter, her name was Lola. She was a showgirl. Lola is essentially traveling with you now.
Excellent.
And for the audience, Lola has effects. A standing effect, which takes place during the first half of the game, and then a secondary effect that happens during the finale. So currently, a standing effect is being applied to the game. And Lynn, who's playing Ms. Karasu, knows what this effect is.
I think in traveling, I think it maybe works the other way around, where I go with her, advise her in the sense of, traveling assistant, advisor situation. Of course.
We're besties now, she says.
Yes.
And she's just like,
yes. Best friends.
The best friend money can buy, as you both drink to that.
And as a investor, once per cycle, I can use skill to gain capital. When I gain capital, because when I'm inferior, I gain 1 capital when I set successful information checks.
Got it. So that occurs, and then we move to Mr. Biggs.
All right, so Mr. Biggs is just kind of roaming around, taking up a lot of space in this casino, and oh my God, is that Maria Nakamura? I've seen all of your movies, I saw to Kill a Kiss, and I saw Explosion Elevator, and then I saw Dragon Punch. I'm your biggest fan. I would love to form a truce with you because oh my God, if you need anything, I got you. Can I get a picture for the gram? I can't believe you're here. This is dope. Oh my God. This is so great. So yeah, I would like to form a truce with Maria Nakamura.
All right. So truce forming. Let's talk a little bit about how that works. I know we're introducing a lot of rules. So yeah, so a truce is called between two PCs. If Maria Nakamura agrees, you're going to get 2 points to increase your stats with. You can split them up or you can add them to anything. But essentially, being in a truce makes you more powerful as a PC.
Whatever you want. Oh my God, I can't believe I ran into Maria Nakamura. Do you want to, can we, hey, can I tell people I met you?
Of course. You look big and strong. I could use a bodyguard.
Yo, you need it. Anybody gives you problems, hands immediately. I'm going, you just point them at me and I'm throwing them out.
I agree to the truce.
Yes. Would you like to split a plate with me? I take one, you take one.
You both get 2.
Oh.
I like that even better.
And mechanically, the way this works is if Maria wanted to refuse, Mr. Biggs could try an opposed charm test. It might be difficult though because Maria's quite charming. And with that,
6, baby.
Yeah. So now we move into the Game Master phase, and what we do here is I'd like for Pruitt, if you could roll 1d6, and Noir, if you could roll another d6, and both of you tell me what you have. This is going to generate an event that occurs in the city.
6.
A 1.
So a 1 and a 6. All right. So
Forget all those other numbers. We play to the extremes.
There is no middle ground.
All right. This is going to be creepy. So I need everyone to do a luck check.
I am so glad I just made that.
All right, let's see.
10.
Then
Now,
me
once
know
per
who got-
cycle, I can use my violence instead of something else.
Yeah.
So
You could-
I'm gonna do that. Just be threatening to whatever this is.
Ooh.
It's gonna apply, my friend. Let's see.
11.
Also 11.
I got a 13.
Again.
I believe 13 is the highest. I'm gonna let you decide how this went down, but the camera booms down from Zusun's face. You notice his eyes are looking down, and it kind of pulls back. And you see just a corpse on the ground. Just someone that has been battered. The city had got to them. I don't know if it was Zusun who did this or someone he's affiliated with. But if he didn't want to have his stuff taken, he shouldn't have died. You find 6 capital on this individual. 6.
Okay. Yeah, I think the camera would pan down to that body and then back up to Zusun as he's taking like a hanky and just kind of like wiping his hands off a little bit and folding it up in precise measurements before putting it in his inside coat pocket,
And then
straightening his hair.
Yeah. And then with that, we go back to the top of initiative. And that's basically the flow of the game. As you can see, the players have some options. They play little scenes. The goal is to get the most influence. There's a traitor among us. But life in the city, as you can see, is rough and dazzling. So it's Zusun's turn now. Top of the cycle.
Top of the cycle. And how much capital can you spend at one time?
I don't quite know, but I don't think there's a cap. Depends what you're spending it on.
Just in the first part of the word? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically what Zusun is going to do, now that he's gotten the lay of the land in this casino, he's gone to a few tables, made enough threats, looking at which dealers actually seem to care to report him versus not. He wants to gather some info, and he's going to do it on this VIP. Actually, no. I'm sorry. He's going to crush to try to get some of the VIP influence. Or do I have to?
I think that's acquire an asset.
Yeah, crush is like taking something from another player, I think.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, under crush it says name what you want to take, any VIP or whatever. 2 of their influence.
let me double check. So I'm gonna do a quick pauseroo.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. So just so you know, they're in chat. For this situation, we're going to be looking to acquire an asset, and it looks like Zusun's going to beat some influence out of this VIP.
Well, he's not going to quite jump to the violence just yet. He has a decent insight. So like I said, he's been looking at all the dealers, finding out who he needs to talk to win over some influence, and basically have a kind ear in this casino, whether it's a security guard or a dealer, or like the floor, I forgot what they're called, the house floor manager person. And he's gonna spend some capital on this roll. So I'm gonna spend 3 capital because that just gives me a +3, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm gonna do influence on this, and I am an academic, so I'm gonna add that +1 to it also. So that's gonna be, let's do this. All right, so I got 9 on the die, and that's going to be 5, 6, 9, So 18 on the roll.
In which you're far, far beyond. Which stat were you using?
I was using insight.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. I'm actually going to roll, and I'm going to give you a secret number, because I have to remember that is it important that this is kept secret. Okay. So you've obtained a certain amount of influence from the VIP, and you've managed to essentially the slot machines aren't paying out like they used to on his end. They are paying out deeply to you, and he's looking into hiring maidmen, mafiosos, yakuza, organized crime. He's got to start paying in order to break even. So you obtain a certain amount of influence from him, and he has a finite amount. When he loses it all, the game is over.
Mm-hmm. Did you need me to roll, or?
I rolled it because I'm important that
sorry.
I know the numbers and then give it to you secretly. So I told you what the number is in chat. Zoom chat.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're going to move to Maria's turn.
Okay. Well, I think whilst this sort of thing is going on, I think at this point she's got expensive habits. It's time to hustle, which probably means living off her celebrity status as much as possible.
Signing autographs, $25 each.
Signing autographs, maybe seeing if she can get cast in something new, do a few commercials, that sort of thing.
Commercials in the city. Yeah, we need someone for Diet Sprite.
Some modeling.
Can you play tennis? All right. Yeah, so the target number for this is going to be 10.
Okay. And hustle uses
you get to pick the stat, I believe,
Okay.
except for luck.
Okay, well, I'm clearly going to use charm. $12.
So you obtain 4 capital. So you're making the money. The commercial shoots go well. You're paid the day rate, and then they give you a bump for doing your own stunts.
Great.
And wardrobe. Wardrobe bump. Stunt bonus.
Perfect.
Now, normally we don't want to offer
a bottle of wine.
we don't want to offer a box wine. No, sorry, we don't want to offer scaled to a famous actress, but it's all we can afford. So we'll take it. Yeah, so you earn that capital. And then we move to Ms. Karasu.
All right. So now that she's in the favor of the daughter, she is going to use that as a little bit of stepping stone to get in with the organization itself. I'm going to try and gather influence, acquire influence. Acquire asset, sorry.
Acquire asset. So you're going to look at essentially this is similar. So you now have the Joker assisting you, which has a standing effect, and it's okay if we describe what that is. You know what it is. So go ahead and how are you going to approach the VIP, and how are you going to try to get their influence?
I think she maneuvers the daughter to speak well of her. All the stuff. She's made the daughter's lifestyle self-sufficient. Okay. Also, she's managed to make money, so
let's pay Dad a visit and see if he'll give us a take of the house. Not only they're splitting takes between the mafiosos and organized crime factions, and maybe the daughter's playing a stake, but funneling all the money to you. It's one of those things, you let her know it'd be a good idea, you'll set up an overseas account, it won't be taxable, because, taxes are a thing here in the city. You can't avoid them, even in a city with no laws.
yes. No one can touch it once it's put there, so.
All right, make your
How
roll.
many safe? So that's insight.
Yes.
All right. Oh boy.
Or it's not necessarily insight. I will say this: you can use violence, insight, or charm, and you get to pick one of the three. There's different target numbers for each.
Insight.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 18.
18 is very good. So you're going to siphon off some influence from the VIP as he's being taken for all that he's worth. So you get some influence as well. So it's coming your way, and I'm messaging you
Alright.
privately. And you get to keep that secret. Now, there's people that people can attempt to get information in you to figure out exactly how much you have. Whoever has the most wins the game. And the game essentially ends once the VIP runs out. So yeah, Dad's there, and he's just like, maybe the mafiosos won't lean on me so hard if they find out there's a co-owner of the casino. He's thinking in his head, you know, these are thought bubbles. He's not saying it to Ms. Carasso. He's like, maybe I can point their attention towards my daughter. Yes. He starts maniacal laughing.
Yes, multiple vectors of attention are always good. Can have little side things somewhere while the main is protected. So,
Ms. Carasso, you are the best friend this family could have. And with that, it's gonna be Big's turn.
All right, so like I've already met Maria Nakamura, which like totally made the weekend. It was lit. I think like right now I came here because I got a job to do, so I'm gonna go do that job by gathering some info.
Who do you want info on, the PC or the VIP?
I want the VIP. I want to figure out what his deal is.
Okay, so here's what he currently has. I can let you know how much influence he has left, or I can let you know the target numbers that you would need to beat. Can't give you information on the Joker because Lynn already stole it. So that's the information he has.
All right, so and how do we get influence from him again? I'm sorry.
You can choose to acquire an asset, which if he has the Joker, you can try to get it. If he doesn't have the Joker, you can just take influence from him.
Let me see how much sauce this guy has left.
Okay.
See, I love that I don't have to translate. You get me.
I get you. So here's my. To be fair, though, for our audience, are you looking?
Boom. I'm looking for how much influence he has left.
Okay, so this is going to be an insight check on him. Target number 10.
You sure I can't use violence? All right, no.
You need an ability for that.
Okay, let's.
A little violence is a treat.
Okay, I rolled a 6 and a 5, and my insight is 3. So let's go. So that's 14.
That is more than enough that you need. So I will message you how much he has left.
You know, when you're working as a bouncer, you just learn to start seeing things. You know, like somebody's not walking right, somebody's got the wrong pair of shoes on for the weather outside.
Yeah, you notice there's been an increasing frequency in made men organized crime here. Likewise, you've noticed a certain Ms. Carasso being invited to certain suites and tables that typically she wouldn't be, and that dazzling daughter of his, the luxurious Lola, seems to be speaking with more authority. You notice one night Pops essentially has some loose lips while he's drinking, and he confides in you. And he goes, you know, I'm messaging you privately the number of influence he has left when he runs out of it. The game ends essentially, but it's just, I'm up to my ears in help these days. You know, when I started this casino, the family was running it. Now the family's running it, and sort of motions to.
Yeah, I see you. You got a lot of people around here that were your day ones. I get that. You know, a lot of people trying to bite at the coattails. That's a rough life you got, man.
Oh, I'm just so glad that you've helped keep this casino in order. And if there's anything I can do for you, feel free to call.
We'll do. Can we get some more natty ices over here?
Yeah. I can get us a bottle, he said. Worst line. Sidle up behind Noir at a convention. I can get us a bottle. Ah! Daisy, get out of here. All right.
My answer is where's the bottle?
All right. And now let's go ahead and have Jess and Lynn. Both of you roll me a d6 and call it out. And this is going to be the next event in the city.
5.
4.
So this event is called the Negotiator. Essentially, there's been some problems with the factions in the city. In fact, the accountant firm is starting to run into trouble with the accountants that are cooking the books, so to speak. The investments are having issues. There's some unreliable numbers. So what I'm going to need is each of you to pick a stat of your choice, and I'm going to need you all to roll and tell me what you get. If you succeed at this, you're going to gain capital because the factions are going to start supporting you and they're going to pay you for your advice to help negotiate this tough time between accountants and organized crime. They go hand in hand together. Shout out to all my accountant friends out there.
Dilemma in dollars.
Dilemma in dollars. But you can use any stat you'd like. Just describe how you're negotiating with the various factions. And then based on your background, you might get a little bonus if you succeed.
Rolled a 12. Oh, but I didn't add my stats yet. So 17.
Oh, is this everybody or just Jess and Lynn?
Everybody.
Okay, sorry.
10 for me.
14 for me.
I got a 11.
Those of you who, and you all added a stat of your choice, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Those of you who rolled less than 14, roll a d6 for me.
1.
1.
All right. You both lose a capital. So the negotiations aren't going well. They're incorrigible. Essentially, your fellow mafiosos are just like, ugh, but they're trying to ruin a good thing, Zeus-san. And, really, I wish that this was not to be. Now, and then, likewise, those that look at the movie star, they're like, listen, you big movie star, we don't very much like you telling us how to operate. Leave committing crimes to the criminals. No, they don't have a good line. You leave committing crimes to the criminals. In fact, I almost think it's one of those things too, where you might be negotiating with the daughter as well, and she's just kind of like, well, we're gonna have to get new outfits for these negotiations. They're gonna be very expensive. Meeting was moved.
Yeah, it's just the calendar invitation keeps moving.
Turns into a wild night of partying where you, Ms. Karasu, and Lola all just drink late into the evening and then miss the meeting with the mafiosos and must pay for it. Those of you who rolled higher than 14 or 14 itself, go ahead and roll a d6 for me, and you're going to gain this much capital.
All right.
5.
Earn the
5.
money. You're both in the money. And then if you happen to be a lawyer, an academic, or a loan shark, you do get an additional 2. So, yeah, so just the negotiations are going very well. Mr. Biggs has been placed into a position of power. They kind of look to him to set the table. Not only that, the social maneuverings of Ms. Karasu, it gets to the point where maybe some of the mafiosos are willing to retain your services. They're like, hey, she has a card, right?
There's a little bit of like low level like sliding like folders over with like allusions to incriminating things that they've done, just to know that it means business, of course.
All right. And then we move back to the top of the cycle for cycle 3. The influence of the casino owner is waning. There's lots of money to be had in the city. And it is Pruitt's turn. Zusan.
So yeah, as all this is going, this revelry, Zusan turns an eye towards these rogues that are spending all this money and gaining everything. He's going to actually look into Miss Nakamura and want to see if I can get some info on her. So that is an opposed insight check.
Okay.
And once again, he's going to check her Wikipedia before doing this, so he gets his +1 on that insight roll. And it's fine. I got a 12.
14.
Knew I should have spent capital.
I'm a mystery, darling. Not everything is in the tabloids.
I knew I should have donated to Wikipedia to get the inside info.
The real articles?
Yeah, the real articles.
Scientific choices.
Okay.
All right. So, with that, we move to Maria Nakamura.
Hmm. Well, let's see. We have a couple of folks that are getting to be pretty big in the city. And of course, my dear Mr. Biggs is doing so well for himself. I'm so delighted. Because that just means I get an allowance to spend.
It's all for you, Nakamura. It's all for you.
Number one.
Thank you so much.
Patreon tier.
I got a Tumblr devoted to your movies.
Bless.
Not devoted to the ratings of her movies. Sorry.
And we don't talk about that. Like my roles there, swingy.
Somebody gave your movie a rotten rating, and I broke his legs.
Darling, I love you.
So, what's the
I think acquire an asset. This is a question for clarifying. Like, can I acquire an asset from another player?
You do that by crushing them.
By crushing them. Okay.
Crush them with the crush. Mr. Biggs is your boyfriend for a turn.
I mean, I think I could make that happen.
Do you have a truce?
I do.
It's gonna break when you crush them.
I'm not gonna do that. I think. Yeah, I'm gonna gather info on Ms. Karasu. She seems influential, and we drank at that party that one time. I unfortunately woke up with the worst hangover. Definitely not a normal thing for me, I swear. Yeah, I'm gonna do a little digging. Send some fans out to do a little hunting. I'm in the market for an investment aid. I have to start thinking about these things.
Yeah, so the way this works is essentially you can try to take info on the Joker, which will give you essentially it'll give you it'll let you know the mechanical effects of that Joker. Essentially, it's the daughter Lola. You can find out whether or not Lynn is the traitor or not. Also, you can get Lynn's info, which will reveal to you her task.
Okay.
You just so you know, you have to get their info before you can find out if they're the traitor.
Yes.
Yep.
And there's like a special rule that lets you do both on the same turn, but
Yeah, it's the 3 or more.
All right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to gain info and learn her task.
all right. So this is opposed insight, I believe.
Yep. As always, I'm going to use my charm stat because I'm hot. Which I think looks like just charming one of her staff to leak some information.
It would have also been that night of drinking and partying where you miss and you just won everyone over. I'll tell you all about myself and what I'm doing in this city.
Yeah.
Get more wine. Miss Cross was a fun wine drunk woman. So
Yes.
We had a great time.
All right, let's see. Ten.
16?
Ooh.
all right. So the Linfo, because I love a good pun,
Give me
is
that info.
being sent over to Jess. Yeah, so now you have that information, and so I'm going to share with you Ms. Nakamura's task, and I'm going to send it to you privately, and then you will know all that information. So it is given to you, and you have that now.
Thank you.
I think it's the fact that like Miss Cross does not like is not comfortable and used to like these like schmoozing like parties, and she gets a little bit too drunk. Like, yes, well, I'm not used to this. I mostly work in the background, you know.
Of course. You have to live a little, darling. It's okay to just unwind a bit, you know.
I don't like losing control, but you know, we do what we must.
Of course. Here, have another drink. On me.
Gotta keep up appearances.
Tips the wine glass.
I keep screwing up my camera.
I think maybe also like you maybe see a little bit of like, 'cause she's always doing like business on her phone, and maybe like she's a
Just
little
kind of
bit
lean over and like
she's
spy
a little
what's up on
yeah
the
she's
screen.
she's a little less reactive about like keeping the screen to herself.
Excellent.
And with that, it is Miss Karasu's turn.
All right, after getting up from that night out, she is harboring just the worst hangover. It takes her an extra amount of time to kind of get prepared, put the glasses back on, and just find out what the best cure for a hangover before going out and going back down to the tables to see what the other people interests are doing. This Mr. Susan here, heard by reputation, is not here by chance. And I want to know what he's doing here. And as if this is going to ruin any of the plans that I have. Him being a man of both mind and violence. Dangerous combination, of course.
The Hannibal Lecter of the group.
I eat that shit up.
All right. So what's the action?
Gather information.
Okay. So you want Susan's info card. So this is
Yes.
opposed insight.
All right.
Opposed insight. Okay. Zeuson does not like people looking into him, so he's going to use violence instead of insight, and just in a very threatening tone. Just perhaps you should look elsewhere for your tidbits.
This is going to turn into a battle date. Here it comes.
I got 11.
Oh, what is that? That's 15.
I got 11.
You get it. You get that Zoo-Sun info. And I'll send you the task information for Zoo-Sun. And you beat it by more than 3, which I think will reveal some information to you about whether or not Zoo-Sun is the traitor, which I will send you. So I'm going to send you Zoo-Sun's task. And for those of you watching, we'll reveal what all these tasks are at the end of the game when we're calculating influence. They are secret missions that are being distributed.
I knew I should have spent capital.
Ooh.
Oh. I think as you kind of like issue that statement, she like lowers her glasses and just. I've heard that before. Don't let the demeanor fool you. Haven't always come from white collar. And I've heard those before. But she'll slide a business card over. Perhaps we can talk in a more friendly manner later.
Perhaps. Depends if I've had some drink in me, because that gets me all demeanor.
Oh, no more drinks. I've had enough.
Classic proof. Yeah, it's one of those things. I like too, like this whole exchange. Maybe Miss Krause is just a little still hungover. Like, hey, I like a little Bankide.
I definitely texted her a tried and true hangover cure. Don't ask how I got that or how I've tested it.
This is where Noir and I are mentally going over our checklist of hangover cures, and we're just
Nothing beats the hair of the dog that bit you, though.
Chugging a Pedialyte at 8 a.m. with some ibuprofen and then going back to sleep for 1 hour. Trust me.
Pedialyte and Jello. Don't ask questions. It works.
Mm-hmm.
I do pre-shows with Jim Davis. It doesn't help. So all right.
Yes, I have as an investor, I can mechanically I get 1 capital, but when I gain capital, I can roll a d6 and see if I gain more capital on top of that.
Ooh. By all means.
Higher the better, lower the worse. I think it's on a 6 you get 2, 4 and 5 you get 1, and a 1 and 2 you lose 1.
I hope you lose money.
I have 3. So nothing changed.
Nothing changes.
No gain, no.
And with that, we come to Big's turn.
Can you remind me again what I can spend capital on?
You can use it to modify your rolls. So if you're going in and you want to crush someone, it's like, I'm going to spend the money to make sure when I beat them up good. When you're doing insight, it's essentially like your dice fudge mechanic.
Okay. Well, I'm not about that right now. What I'm about is, I just saw a pretty heated conversation between Miss Caruso and Zoo-Sun. And so I'm walking over to Miss Caruso and I was going, hey, I was a couple cans deep over there and I saw things start to go south. I was about to whop over there. I was about to, help you out with it. Look, I really admire the way that you handled that. You handled that like a champ. And, if you ever have any problems and you need a friend, I might not look like it, but like Golden Girls is my thing, right? So like the theme song for Golden Girls, I want you to think of that when you see me, all right? Yeah, it just like gives you a big like meaty slap on the back of
she's small dudes. It's like oh.
And I would love to make a truce with you.
All right.
Well played, Mr. Biggs. Well played.
You know what? Could always use some help.
Hey, remember what I said before? Well, guess what? Thank you for being a friend.
Yes,
that was the joke.
And I can be a friend to you as well. So
I
and
love
with
this.
us being friends.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Oh, right.
I have some good
Natty
information.
Isis.
You know do you do the sports betting? I have some juicy information about a team that might affect their chances. Shall we?
Yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this. I love fantasy football.
Yes.
All right, so you both get 2 points. to add
She
into
will
that.
unleash the worst dirt about like players on that team. It's like, oh no. It's like
Every turn, I hate Mr. Biggs more and more.
I also hate my person. I also hate Mr. Crossers. Like,
I love all of them.
his
They're my-
daughter.
they're
I'm
my
his
kind.
daughter, and
I'd hang out with any of them. I'm scum.
Yeah. So with truce, you get the person that is a non-initiating partner in the truce gets one.
Oh no, we both get 2.
You both
We
get
both get two. Okay, excellent. That's good.
Right?
Sweet.
Oh.
That might.
So this time I will roll the event. Good golly.
Miss Molly.
Good golly, Miss Molly. Woo! Sorry.
I couldn't help myself. And neither could you, and that's what
I'm telling you, we would do damage. All right, so we're coming up into another event of the city. I need everyone to make a luck check.
Luck.
And if you get 10 or higher, this will actually impact everyone.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Well,
Okay,
Well,
not the worst. 11.
Also 11.
Just
And then what did you get, Mr. Biggs?
12.
This is the worst
Ooh.
person. So there's a,
Sorry.
no, not you. Not you. No, like for this individual, they're not good at their job.
oh.
Are any of you do any of you have the magician trait? No. Okay. Mechanically, I'm going to change this a little to where you're all going to gain 3 capital. Essentially, a pickpocket was going around picking people's pockets. Every one of you busted the little scamp, though. He just wasn't really good. He was big
hire
old
a
fat
kid?
milk jug hands, and no, like he just wasn't good.
Just like,
Like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah,
What are you doing?
I'm all upon. You know, that's it. He's just like, I'm all upon. The music's playing, Mr. Biggs. Don't you want to dance?
I hope you know how expensive that is. How dare you?
Here.
should be
Okay.
more subtle.
Biggs, darling, could you tell this man to go away?
Hey, nobody touches Miss Nakamura.
And he got shaken for every cent that he had across the board. And with that, it's Susan's turn.
so Zeusen is one that's not people usually don't get one over on Zeusen, and so he's harboring a bit of a grudge. I'm just gonna be honest here, and so he I'm gonna do a little crush on Miss Karasu.
I have been crushing on Miss Cross. No, sorry.
And I'm going to spend a little capital on this, but I'm sending you what stat I'm going to use.
We have to send we send you the amount of capital we're gonna spend if we're gonna spend some, right? Correct.
You can just say it openly and publicly because capital is public information.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the audience, since this is our first crush action of the game, essentially you pick a PC you're going after, you say what you want to take. It can either be any VIP or PC info cards, 4 of their capital, 2 of their influence, possession of the Joker, or any traitor or not cards they have.
So I have sent you what stat I'm using.
Yeah. And then you can let me know which one you're using, and then you both can roll and let me know.
Well, no, Lynn's is supposed to guess.
Okay.
And if you get it, then it doesn't work.
Ah.
This is the
I
technical,
see,
like if you guess my play.
Yes.
Yeah, if you guess my play, then it doesn't work. But if it does, then
Yeah, the consequences. I see that now. So what stat do you think Zusun is using?
I think
To
Susan's
crush.
gonna come at not in more subtle ways. So she's preparing her information networks against his prying. So it's gonna be insight.
That was not
shall
correct.
we roll?
Okay. So what do we roll?
Let's double check. So you making a post check now.
So that means we're going to use luck. And
Yeah.
I spent 5 capital because basically I'm trying to pay the right person to steal some of your influence. And that's I'm hoping that I paid the right person so that
We also paid off people. So 7. Oh, so luck.
Yeah.
So that's 5, 7. So I got a 17.
So 7 with the 7 capital. Okay, what the hell is that? My 20. What?
20.
I spent.
How much capital did you spend?
I spent 7 capital.
That's a lot of money.
I had a lot.
So it essentially becomes like a Shark Tank almost, where it's like you're spending a lot of resources. There's a lot of people going after each other. The influence is being contested, but at such a cost. So go ahead and update your remaining capital on the spreadsheet.
There were bodies, just not ours.
Yeah.
This.
It's like a game of telephone.
What stat did you use? Or
Luck.
like there was definitely violence, I think. It might have been like kind of like shady planning, but there was definitely violence.
How much capital did you spend there, Miss Karasu?
7.
Oof.
At least now I know what your luck is.
Yeah.
I won't attack that anymore.
All right. And with that, it's Maria Nakamura's turn.
Oh, goody. I think I want to acquire some influence from the VIP.
All right.
What this probably looks like is, graciously allowing him to go to dinner with me, the Maria Nakamura. And he can publicize that however he likes.
He's like, we need to keep it out of the papers. My wife.
Or not publicize it, or, whatever works. I'm flexible.
You see? Nosebleed.
I'm also, to really make this good, I'm going to spend a little of my good friend Mr. Biggs's capital because I get an allowance and I don't have to ask for that.
That you do. And this is a charm?
Yes.
It is my absolute pleasure to give you some money to go out with another fella. All right. I hope you have the best night of your life. You just one more pick for the gram. Yeah.
Of course. Okay? Of course, dear. I'm going to take 3 capital from Mr. Biggs to bump my result up, whatever it may be.
All right.
Dang. 19? This was the best dinner ever.
Yeah. He is absolutely smitten, and you manage to nab a certain amount of influence from him. Not only that, he went and told Mr. Biggs all about it. because Mr. Biggs is able to know how much influence the VIP has remaining. And essentially, yeah, old Pops told you all about Maria Nakamura, and you're her biggest fan. He's just like, oh, jeez.
I got a poster of our IMDb on my wall.
A poster of her IMDb, just all the pages printed out.
Please, darling, I would have given you a signed headshot.
He's just like, haven't actually seen any of her films.
What? You?
Oh, movie night.
She's in movies? Pictures? What are you talking about? Yeah, and so that transpires, and so you, that's the way it goes down. I believe it's Ms. Karasu up.
So now that we've gotten this far in there, I'm going to also gather info on the VIP. How pliable are they?
So essentially, you want to know their target numbers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that I can do.
Now that our relationship has gone friendly and past acquaintanceship, it is probably be fairly easy to figure out how we can mold this VIP.
Yeah, so it's an insight. 10 is the rating.
Okay. Let's see. +3, 5, 8. 9 plus 14 plus 14. Okay, it's just 14.
14. So I will message you the target numbers for influence, and that VIP's information is now given to you. I'll
Excellent.
make sure I give this to you directly. And then I'm going to put the first letter of the stats in front of
Okay.
each one, just so you know. Yeah, so those are what the numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And then for the audience, just so you know, as we mentioned, when you try to approach the VIP, in this case the casino owner, you can approach with violence, insight, or charm, and the difficulty is different depending on your approach. Though everyone has rolled quite high tonight. And with that, Mr. Biggs, you're on deck.
All right, so I don't have a choice for what I'm gonna do this turn. I need to get influence from influence from the VIP because we need to have a movie night. We need to
movie night.
Movie night.
Like I can't. You haven't seen Beloved at My School, Phantom in the Cabin, Horse in the Field, Dearest of the Mountains, Boys at Work, Freaks Behind Me, Friend and Husbands, Foundation of Eternity, Witches and Humans. Like he's pulling up all these movies on his iTunes, and we're watching them all. So
we do it. It's a 48-hour marathon. It's a charm, right?
It's a violence if he tries to get out of it.
He stays just sweating in the chair.
Cool.
So hold on, I'm trying to find. What skill? What move is this? It's acquire assets.
It's acquire assets.
And it's a charm, I guess. Here we go.
Yeah, and you can spend capital if you'd like.
I might have to. Oh goodness. Okay.
Do it before you roll.
Oh, I have to do it before I roll. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of my dice fell off the table, so it's not done yet. I'm going to spend. How much money do I have? I can't spend too much because
someone took it.
Miss Nakamura might need some more, so I'm only gonna spend one more.
Okay.
You're so sweet.
All right. So That brings us to 12, a dirty 12. I rolled a 6 and a 5 with the one that I spent. So
All
I don't-
right. You definitely succeed, and I'm going to uh
Oh,
let
plus
you
my
know.
charm. That's 15 total.
Mm.
I got +3 for charm.
Excellent. So I've just messaged you how much influence you got out of him and how much is remaining because you have that information and that insight. He's just like, oh. It's almost one of those things where as the evening goes on, he's almost more enamored by your savant ability to recall all the lines from every movie after
Like-
watching 23 different full-length motion pictures.
I'm
Just-
telling you, she went through a weird indie phase with learning from my dreams and wrong about, but she really found her own in skeletons and imps.
She's my nominee for a Princess Bride remake. So right. And then I'm gonna do some quick rolls to see our city event. Da-da-da-da-da-da. City event. Pull up my all right. So the way the events work in this, and you can make your own, but they also give you a table with many, many, many events. Ooh. Everyone make a luck check for me.
Oh, okay. Luck. Let's see.
13.
10.
14.
15.
So, anyone who is a scholar or a student, add 2 to your result, and did that change it at all? If not, all right.
I mean, I graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. Does that count?
No, unfortunately, because you're a graduate and not a student. But you're.
I'm a synonym of a scholar. I'm an active.
I know-
field, so
I know
don't
we're
think that
like-
counts.
I might. Yeah, it's one of those things. With
We've
that
been
said,
on
it's
the
only 55.
very edge. Like I don't think either of our like academics have been like touched. It's been very close.
So the name of this event is called The Abyss. Maybe it was
Oh.
chance. Maybe it was inevitable. But Maria Nakamura peered into the city's abyss. And you can't ever bring yourself to speak of it.
Oh.
And with that said, Ms. Nakamura, you receive 1 influence, which Mr. Biggs would be able to tell you there was only 1 remaining. So you add that to your influence pool, which brings our game 1 to a close, and we move on to game 2, where we're going to attempt to expose the traitor. Now, you don't say it openly; it's going to happen in behind the scenes. You'll message me privately who you think it is. So I'm going to move to my exposing the traitor flowchart. Okay. So let's go through this. So every player is going to message me privately who they believe the traitor is. You can abstain if you would like. Then, if you manage to get it right, you're going to get essentially influence from a pool of influence. There's like a big old jackpot. If multiple get it right, you're going to split the jackpot. And there's a couple other mechanics that go through this as well. If you get it wrong for slandering someone, you're going to have to give up some of your influence to them. So, all right. So, anyone who would like to accuse someone, message me now. Is everyone and if you're gonna abstain, message me that you're abstaining. Oh, all right. So So there's eight influence, and it's all going to go to Zusan, who has accused Maria Nakamura of being the traitor. And so Zusan's going to get eight points. Now, those of you that abstained, Maria takes 2 influence from both of you.
Oh, okay.
And if you actually named it wrong, if you guessed the wrong person, you would have to give 3 influence to the person you wronged, and the traitor takes influence from you. So it's bad to get it wrong. So it's a big gamble. So let's play this out in the fiction, how this scene goes down. Zusan's accusation of Maria Nakamura.
Zusun would invite Maria Nakamura to a very expensive dinner. He would spend 5 of his remaining capital on the most expensive restaurant, buying out an entire area so that they're all alone. And he would say to her, well, I know you have your bodyguard who is quite a fan. Well, I did like Elevator Explosion. I found that Elevator Explosion ground floor is where you really need to start the story. And then you can elevate the series itself, which goes to show that did anything. All you did was take. Seeing you party around, taking money from your bodyguard, information from your friend, but you never gave. You never took from the man upstairs. Maybe that's why you should have finished that series, because if you'd have gotten to Elevator Explosion Penthouse, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But here we are.
My goodness. You're very insightful, aren't you?
I try.
Do you have proof of this little accusation of yours?
Do I have proof? Well, I don't need proof.
Oh.
Lola, the daughter, comes in, places her hand on Zusun's shoulder, and says, "Oh, don't worry, I'm picking up the bill." Looks and sees Maria Nakamura, looks back at Zusun and goes, "Gets out of there. She outed you." No.
Ooh.
I have information.
I see. Well played. What a pity.
Well, perhaps now this will force you back into work so you can finish the Dragon Punch series.
Oh, is that what this is all about?
Well, you got to give the people what they want, and you have a new bodyguard, and you got to keep him happy somehow. So,
maybe I'll consider it.
Dragon Punch was my favorite.
I'm gonna tell you what. Since I own this casino now, I'll even open up a movie theater in it.
Oh, that's very gracious of you.
Yeah, we'll
Giving
have the
us trouble.
$1 Nakamura nights.
Oh, that's charming. She sips her wine angrily.
And I will say there's a good chance that you both had second desserts that night for obvious reasons. So now let's figure out how much influence does everyone have? And then after we calculate influence and essentially the winner of the session, you're all going to get notoriety bonuses forever. So let's go ahead and reveal what our tasks are and calculate our influence. So what we're going to do is we're going to go around. Let's start with Ms. Nakamura. Then we'll do Zusan, followed by Mr. Biggs, and then Maria Nakamura.
I believe I had 5 influence, although I don't know how the being named as traitor thing
It didn't.
impacted that.
It didn't hurt you, but other people
Okay.
abstaining helped you. You got 2 points for
Oh,
Two from Mr. Biggs, 2 from Ms. Karasu because they both abstained.
okay.
And so that will
So
just add on
actually,
top
hold
of
on.
it.
Okay. So I've actually got like 9.
And then you have certain tasks to do as the trader. There's a little chart that I sent you on the Discord. So you get 1 influence for each other PC's info card you possess. Then you get 2 more influence for each of the VIP info cards. And then 2 influence each time you crush someone. The 3 influence if you succeed at breaking a truce with someone to cause them to fail a check. So do any of those things apply? Let's take a look to see if you have any info cards.
I got.
You have Lynn's.
Yep, I got Ms. Karasu's.
So you get another piece of influence for that. And so yeah, that's it sounds like you have a total influence of 10.
A nice easy 10.
What about Ms. Karasu?
I had 2, I believe, from the initial acquire asset, but that has been given over from the abstain, I think.
Okay, yeah. So you did have your task though as well.
Yes, and I have the capital thing, which is I had 10, so it's 2 influence, correct?
I believe so. So knowing the target number, info on Zusun, info on whether or not he was the traitor or not. You also get a special 3 from
the VIP.
the Joker.
Yeah. I mean the Joker. And my task was to gather as much info as you can. You gain influence depending on the info cards you hold at the end of the game. 1. Each VIP card is worth 2. Each PC card or traitor or not card is worth 1. Max limit 5. All right, so I had 2 PC, I believe, and then 1 from the PC. That was the info card. Okay. What is that? My brain has not worked.
So so I can put numbers next to it. So 1 you get an additional 3 from the Joker, as well as Joker effects. So that's a total of 5, because the Joker effects is a card in and of itself. So that looks like, and the target number for influence is 2. So that'll be 4. That's 9.
Plus the money. The capital is 2 extra, right? Correct?
I don't know. What's the
Let me
capital
just double
one?
check.
Is it a class
I think
ability?
it's
Or?
I think it's let me just notoriety. Oh no, that's notoriety. Sorry.
Yeah, don't worry about the
Never
notoriety.
mind that.
Notoriety helps everyone.
Yeah, never mind.
And so with that, you're at 9. So currently, Maria's in the lead with 10, followed by Ms. Karasu with 9. Mr. Biggs, I know you got 4 influence there. At the that you pulled from the VIP. You lost to when you abstained. However, your task was an interesting one. It's to connect with other rogues until the end of game 1. Anytime you got the game master to explain that I liked the role play, you gained an influence. And you got 5 out of me because I had mentioned it throughout. I was keeping a tally every time because I could see you going for it. So you can see these tasks are very different. You know, some of them it's like you must take cards. The other one encourages you to ham up role playing with each other. So it sounds like you've got a total of 7 at the end. And then lastly, Zusan.
Oh, really quick, Daisy, can I make a special request?
Yeah.
Can I have you read the message that I sent to you when we were all when we were getting ready to accuse people, please?
Oh, yeah. So Noir messaged me and said, I'm abstaining from choosing, but if it's Marie, it's gonna break Mr. Big's heart.
Aw.
I knew it was you.
He knew he couldn't bring himself to do it. He could have accused
Love.
you. Would have got a
Rule
bunch
one,
of influence.
love no one.
Man,
And then Zoosun.
all I gotta say, Mr. Biggs, is you could have owned this hotel and let her be your queen. Because I only got 3 from gaining influence with the pit boss. That's finally remember the name of the guy who leads the floor. I got 3 from that, and then 8 from guessing the correct trader. So that gives me a total of 11. My special thing I was supposed to do is try to crush as many rogues as possible. I was going to do that in the latter half of the game, but then I hit a bad streak, and I just had the feeling that we were running out of time. So I didn't actually get any of that. So I ended with 11.
11 is enough to take the lead. So Zoosun is the rogue of rogues, the top Picard, the top mafioso. Everyone played very well for the first time playing a very different and unique, engaging Japanese role-playing game that's being localized by Lion Wing Publishing. Shout out to them for sponsoring the stream. Do check the chat. We're going to be dropping links where you can back their crowdfunding campaign to get the book produced here in North America. And then the last step we're going to do is we're going to calculate some notoriety. So there's a couple different ways that we do this. So there's going to be some bonuses. Essentially, Pruitt gets 3 or 4 notoriety, and then essentially down the list for having the most influence. I'm going to say that everyone gets 2 for excellent role play. This is the role play bonus. And then the play bonus, using the game system in a clever manner, I'm going to give that to Ms. Karasu. I'm also going to give some of that to Mr. Biggs, knowing very well that you could accuse Maria Nakamura, but in character you would not. As well as
you saw her result without a conscience, man. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I've got a whole list of fake movie names up here.
Then we add up all the influence gained by all the players and divide it by 3, and that's everyone else is going to get it. So that's 33, 38 equals 38 divided by 3. Round up, everyone gets an additional 13. I don't know if I'm supposed to split that, but we're just going to drop it out. And then capital bonus, each PC divides the amount of capital they had at the end of the game by 5 and earns that number of points. That's rounding up. So looks like everyone will get 1, and Ms. Karasu is going to get 2. Actually, technically, Maria would get 2 rounding up as well. So forgive the math. Trader bonus, any PC who successfully names the traitor gets 1 point. So Zoosun gets that, and Maria fulfilled her obligation, also gets 1 point. And then there was no bodyguard PC, so we'll do a quick sum, assuming I can type actual words on these. Click, click, boom. And then let me drag down. So a range of 34 to 27. So the 34 is essentially everyone falls in this range, the 26 to 40 range. Who's the baddest rogue in this city? You don't even have to pay attention anymore. Yet your name is always on people's lips. It's possible you may even have worshippers. Other rogues give you a wide berth wherever you walk. So these characters go on to live amazing, tragic lives in the city. When you play other sessions, they might show up as NPCs. You can always play one of your character again. There is no stat growth like in other RPGs, though. However, you can swap different playbooks and gigs and jobs to redesign them however you want. So that's our session for tonight on this sponsored stream. Let's go around and let everyone know where we can find each other online. And our throw order will be Jess, Noir, Lynn, then Prue.
All right. This was really fun. What a great game. You can find me on Twitch at Little Cup of Joe, streaming on the weekends late at night from 9 p.m. Pacific onward. I play a lot of visual novels and do a lot of voice acting in those things. And we're currently playing a storyline that takes place with a bunch of mafia characters. So, you know, if this was your jam, come hang out.
And the Noir Enigma.
Oh, right. That's I'm in Heads in the Clouds. Hi, everybody. I'm Noir. You can find me all over the internet as the Noir Enigma. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I was looking at some of these fake movie names, and like some of them are like really good, like Butcher and the Robot Love. You can, every Monday I run a campaign from a homebrew setting that I've been running for the past 20 years. Please check that out. And
Kingsguard.
Yeah, Kingsguard. And every Saturday morning, I have a morning show called Morning Ritual where we talk to some of the most interesting people in the TTRPG space. So please check that out as well.
And Lynn.
Oh, this was so much fun. I love being criminal with y'all. It's great. It's so much fun. But I'm Lynn, flying Cirrus pretty much every place. Check Twitter for the games I'm playing, including where I get to be like a angry, disheveled magical crow, a fox, a kitsune godling, and a demon gopher. And you can check out on Sundays I build Gundams, and always have a lot of fun with that. So yeah.
And Jonathan Pruitt.
Hey everyone, I am Pruitt, one half of WebDM. You check out our videos every Wednesday. We also have a Patreon if you want to check that out, and we also come out with the WebDM Talks podcast every week that you can listen to on your favorite podcast app. This was so much fun. It's been a while since I played, and getting to play with people I've gotten to play with before. Plus, it was great. I think Noir, we have played in a one shot. Yeah, it's been a long time.
A long time ago. Like many moons ago.
Yes, many moons. But yes, it's always good to play with people that you're comfortable with, and so that's why I knew Lynn could take it when after all of Salvo and Beck's butting heads in the Torg Eternity game. So,
we were the academic version of that tag team. It's like we're
that's so good. Yeah. It's the same duo, just fighting with your brains instead of your battle axes and baseball bats. Lastly, I'm Daisy. You can find me on Twitch at Daisy Plays. I produce shows here on WebDM's Twitch channel. We'll see what we have coming down the pipeline, but thank you all again. Don't forget this stream was sponsored by Lion Wing Publishing. Check out the link to their crowdfunding. If you're watching this on YouTube, it should be in the description below the video. Thank you and have a good night. Bye. You can hear my voice, but you can't see me. I'm on my way, coming back to the stream. I just got to make sure that I bring in my camera on the stream. All right. Where's the right button? Okay. I might pop up. Am I there? I'm little. Oh, there I am. So I hope you all enjoyed that stream. I hope it was fun for you. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to play and a lot of fun to put together. Those of us playing in the game, we were all friends. We've all played with each other before for the most part. And yeah, it's exciting. That was actually my last recorded AP before I retired. So I retired a couple weeks back, but I had some episodes that had been pre-recorded that are still airing. Retired as a player, I still produce, I still animate, I still promote. But I'm stepping away while I explore my own life. Shout out to Lion Wing Publishing for sponsoring the show. We've been putting the link throughout the chat tonight. If you had a moment of the game, if you were a player of the game and you enjoyed playing, or if you enjoyed watching some gameplay, do let us know in the chat. If you have any questions about the system, let me know. Having run it, I have a pretty good feel for it. There were some extra bonuses that Jess would have gotten for being scoring in the proper influence tier. That influence tier being not the highest, not the lowest, but just right. You know, the Goldilocks position. But what a fun group. Lynn was actually in the first AP that I had ever played in like 6-7 years ago. Pruitt and I have been friends for almost as long. Jess is a voice actress who I've listened to play a lot of Japanese visual novels, and they've been a good friend and someone I've played with on lots of streams. Likewise, I started playing a bunch of games with Noir Enigma this past year, and just goodness, what a delight. You know, great attitude, great player, someone who really brings a lot to the table, both in the innovation in creating on the fly these different fictitious movie titles, and really leaning into that relationship. And I think that's something you see. It's not just a PvP game, it's an opportunity to tell stories from the position, the fictional position of player versus player. So if you are rogues at odds, what decision does your rogue make when it all comes down to it? And I hope we see these characters again. And I hope we see more Picaresque Roman on this channel. The best way to ensure that we do is to make sure that we support the crowdfunding. The crowdfunding campaign is available at the following Kickstarter link. Let's smash those stretch goals. Something I find interesting is that there are two games. Game 1, which is acquiring influence from the VIP, and Game 2, which is essentially exposing the traitor and moving into the epilogue. I really enjoy the cycled version of play. It's a great way to pass the spotlight and make sure each player gets the opportunity to absorb as much of the spotlight as they desire. Some aspects of the spotlight are choosing the type of scene you want to play, or setting up the best way to accomplish your tasks. Likewise, hey, you can go back to watch the VOD. You can also watch the entire VOD on the Kickstarter page. There's a link about halfway down. We provided the publisher with a recording of the game before their Kickstarter went live, just so more people have the opportunity to see it. But dude, let me know your question. Atsu333. So, is there a specific mechanic or system within this game that you want to bring to other game systems? I would say yes. I really like the Joker mechanic, and the Joker being a specific piece of information that is an element. It's a fictional element, and by that I mean it's a person, place, or thing. In this case, it was the daughter of the casino owner. In other scenarios, it's a printing press, or it's a supply of illegal substances. I really like the idea of this special thing that has a mechanic that evolves over the course of the game, that can be passed around between. It's shared. It's almost like the One Ring in Lord of the Rings. So you have this Joker, and it's up to the game master when they're designing the scenario or using a published scenario to set the framework for what the Joker mechanic is. But as a mechanic, it has a couple of interesting aspects to it. The first is it is a game piece. It's an info card. In the game, you couldn't see because we were using a digital, essentially, cardboard where we were moving the cards around. But it was very, very... it would not have presented well. It was very crude and rudimentary, but I wanted the players to have something so they could get some of the tactile sense as if we were playing in person. Likewise, the same with tracking their capital. You could do it in Roll20 or Vorpal Board or Fantasy Grounds or even Google Sheets. There's many ways you could do that. So it's a tactile piece. It's an info card. And then the second part to it is there's crunch. It is a crunch mechanic, and it's crunch in that it impacts other game mechanics. If you have the Joker, there is a mechanical consequence. So it has that crunch aspect. The fluff aspect, it's a fictional element, a person, place, or thing that's described within the fiction of the game world. For those of you casuals, maybe I'm getting a little too into game theory, but you're on WebDM. We talk game theory all the time. But there's this fluff aspect, which is these are really cool, interesting, and evocative things we could say about. Then the crunch aspect, it also has a mechanical consequence that grows over time. And then it touches the rules. You know, you have to, there's rules about how the Joker operates and how the Joker interfaces with the game system itself. You can use the crush move to crush someone and force the Joker into their hand. In this case, the Joker was a beautiful young lady in her early 20s who was in a position of power. There might be reasons why you want to pass the Joker over, and it might be, for example, Maria Nakamura was in the position, Little Cup of Joe. She was in the position where she wanted to make sure she did not have the most influence at the end of the game, because as the traitor, that would have penalized her. So strategically, if she had ended up with the Joker, she could have passed it on to someone else. Interesting to watch the way that works. But I think the Joker mechanic, which is very much sort of a wild card that moves around, and I like that you can frame it as an object. Say you're doing Dungeons and Dragons, it could be a fictional sword, it could be a gold treasury, it could be a famous prince. You know, there's also different ways you could do it. Likewise, the game system itself is highly reskinnable. You just have to be willing to lean into the PvP aspect. But beautiful artwork in the game. We brought up, we'll see if we can bring it up. We have some sample documents. Let's see if I can bring them up again. You can download the play sample off the Kickstarter. Let me bring it up. Gonna drop the link in chat because I want to make sure you get that. So do check out the play sample, which is on the Kickstarter page. But it has a very interesting art style. You'll notice our overlay used the same typeface as this document for the section titles. I had the opportunity to read a replay, which is essentially was a transcription of a game session. That's great too, and I will say from a publishing perspective, something that you might want to steal if you write games, having a transcription of the way your game is played is extremely helpful for teaching new players. I was a big fan of having the opportunity to read, essentially, how the game was played, how players play off of each other, how they move in and out of scenes, how they move in and out of character to in character. And even though every game table is different, it's good to have the context and the framework of a game system. And yeah, good question. Thank you, Atsu333, for asking that. The something else that I found very interesting from running the game is you prep in a matter of minutes. It's very quick to prep. Even if you were creating your own events, you know, that's the city phase that happens at the end of the cycle of the game master's turn. Even if you were creating your own fictional play space, you were, you know, compositing your own version of the city. Even if you were coming up with your own scenario, you can do it rather quickly. Likewise, the game has a sweet spot of 4 to 5 players. With 3 players, it might not have enough tension. 6 players, it might take too long to get through the cycles. A really good mechanic to help control the length of the game is the amount of influence that the VIP has. Say you wanted to play a really long one, you could just stack up a bunch of influence. You could play a long campaign over multiple sessions that way if you wanted to. I personally prefer the one-shot method, and this is a game that I will be running at conventions, both online and in person when it's safe to go to them in person again. Any other questions from chat? Do follow those players. I dropped their Twitter links in the chat. They were gracious enough to come out. And again, thanks to our sponsor, Lion Week Publishing, who, if it wasn't possible, we wouldn't have been able to assemble. Without them, it would have been possible to assemble such a great cast. We appreciated their support, not just in providing copies of the game, but also in making sure that we had unreleased portions, such as the replay, and they were able to answer any questions we had, and also made sure that we had every asset we needed to be successful. And that's definitely something that's highly valued in a sponsored and a sponsor. Yeah, I really also appreciated another mechanic that I would borrow from this and use in other games, as well as something that's very useful in this game, is the fact that the game sessions begin with asking players, why do you want to go to the city? That creates a drive, and it creates a momentum for their character to carry them through a session. They've presented their reason for participating and buying in. Asking a character why you want to be an adventurer, or why you want to explore dungeons, or why you want to come to Neon Tokyo is a great way to figure out exactly where the player's at in their headspace, or how much they've figured out of their character. Also, I really liked playing those ridiculous gatekeepers that were letting people into the city. It was a lot of fun, and it was a great way to set the tone for a whimsical session. If you are tuning in late and you want to know where you can watch the actual play that we just finished, you essentially can watch it on the Kickstarter page, or you can watch it on WebDM Play's YouTube channel, which will be dropped, and you'll have a chance to watch on the YouTube channel most likely tomorrow. I think Twitch requests that you wait 48 hours before you post the stream, but they don't always watch, and I like to get the videos out. We won't get in trouble. Yeah, also, if you missed the pre-show will also be on WebDM's YouTube, but we're going to try to get a link to the publisher as well. So by whatever means necessary that you are finding the channel. If any of you have a favorite playbook, or rather gig, it's called a gig. Playbook is not really an applicable term to this game. Let's take a look. So there's the Yakuza, the Info Broker, the Swindler, the Heartbreaker. I really like the Heartbreaker. I really like the gal flipping off the camera, blowing the bubble. I like the unique stat spread of the Swindler. Charm and intellect must be higher. Info Broker's good because you have that default high insight. Yakuza's fun because you have a lot of crush potential. And the abilities are really cool too. Those are the main gigs, and you can see the gigs in the play sample. There are many side gigs, and the side gigs, what allows for a lot of diverse gameplay is the fact that you can apply all these different side gigs to the various main gigs. So, you can be a Yakuza movie star, or you can be a gambler scholar. We really do need to commission artwork of the selfie with Mr. Biggs and Maria Nakamura. So that's our show for the night. Again, one last drop. Support the crowdfund here. Check it out. And if you are checking out that crowdfund link, click on the Twitter button to share that you've seen the page, And if you support, also make sure that you share that you're supporting the crowdfund campaign. You know, indie RPGs is a very special space. It's very near and dear to my heart as an indie game designer myself. And to watch a game that was such a massive hit overseas have the opportunity to be localized and come here to North America, I mean, it's a huge boon. By playing these games, you increase your gaming vocabulary, and you have an opportunity for a heck of a lot of fun.